You know what I don't think I've ever talked about on my channel, and if I have, feel free to call me out on it, but I'm too lazy to check. My life as a teenage robot, which for some reason I always forget about, but always remember really fondly whenever it comes up. It's been getting a little more attention on Twitter lately. Turns out a lot of people had a crush on the main character, Jenny, or XJ9, which she's an adorable, likable character with a cute design. I understand, but also shame on you. So, the show is very similar to a type of show that was coming out around the time it did. Main character with some kind of distinction, battles the supernatural or the extraordinary, and they also have their day-to-day life, usually in high school. I find high school stories generally really fascinating. High school tropes fascinate me, because a lot of the times it wasn't my experience, and people changed so much in those 4 years, so from a character development perspective, it is fascinating. And nowadays, interestingly enough, the trend I'm seeing is, I'm seeing a lot of other dimensions, magical worlds. Like Gravity Falls, Amphibia, Starburst of the Forces of Evil, Hilda. A lot more magical worlds nowadays. A lot of what was back when I was coming of age was, like I said, character dealing with the extraordinary, like spies, robots, monsters, while also battling their day-to-day battles. High school, middle school, usually high school. Neither one is bad, by the way. It's just I'm noticing a trend. Maybe that's just the stuff I've been watching, who knows. But back to my life as a teenage robot. I like the B-movie title. It has a very 50s futurism design to it. The main character is extremely adorable. Funny thing is, I guess because there's a prejudice against robots, she's so sweet and so likable. Maybe people were jealous of her, but I remember as a kid wondering why people hated her so much. But granted, I know a lot of really wonderful, amazing people who also had a rough time in school. Gonna be narcissistic, myself included. The world's a very cruel place. But she had some really sweet, likable friends. I liked Brad a lot. He was a good friend. I know a lot of people shipped them, but personally, I like that they were just friends. That's the chemistry I always felt between them. And Brad and his little brother Tuck usually helped Jenny with her battles. Sometimes she was by herself, sometimes she had her mom's help. She had her arch enemies. Usually the main enemy I remember from that show, I don't remember a lot of the one-off characters, but I remember Vexus a lot. I'm gonna butcher the name a lot. Things have been really busy. I can't talk too much in depth about stuff, but I try at least to do something every day. Yeah, this is not gonna be one of my best reviews, guys. I remember the stories being really interesting. I remember it having a really sweet, fun, likable setting. I remember something about it had a very Astro Boy look to it, which I think was one of the inspirations for the show. They also had an episode, I remember the one where this show, she was in Japan but then lost her English language disc, so Jenny was stuck speaking Japanese for the rest of the episode. If I'm not mistaken, I think the voice actress actually did speak Japanese, so got to show off her language talents, which was really, really cool. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I remember more and more. I remember she had to deal with these mean girl characters, Britt and Tiff, who had really cool fashions, really cool designs, and one of them was voiced by Cree Summers, so automatic love. Cree Summers amazing. I don't remember too much of the humor. I remember it being a little more subdued, definitely more on the lines of something like Chalk Zone, where it was a sweet, likable, fun show, as opposed to something like Invader Zim, which was really edgy. I know that the creators really wanted to have some continuity to it, which I don't remember too much of it. I remember most of the show being very episodic. I don't remember a ton of serialization, overarching plots, but I remember recurring villains, recurring characters. And you know, funny thing, as a kid, I liked the day-to-day slice of life stuff way more in these shows, because I find the high school setting so fascinating. Now as I'm older though, and I'm past some of it, if it's done really well or in a really funny, unique way, I tend to really get into it. But I also really like exploring the worlds. I like the magical worlds, I think, a little more now. Even though I still love the day-to-day slice of life stuff. I guess it just depends on the show. I guess I can't really analyze too much about it. This is one I always really liked, and funny thing is, as religiously as I watched it, it didn't strike a deeper nerve with me the way other shows did. But it is still really sweet, fun, likable. It clearly has a big fan base. Great artwork. Looks very unique. And one that I will keep remembering fondly in the future.